Hello and welcome to CX Today. My name is Charlie. I am the head of publication here, and I'm thrilled to share the news that Content Guru has secured an industry-first FedRAMP certification. And joining me to discuss exactly what that means and why it's so important is Andrew Casson, the VP of Public Sector at Content Guru. Andrew, thanks very much for joining me. How are you doing today?
Oh, excellent, Charlie. Thank you for having me. It's a huge accomplishment, and I'm really thrilled to talk to you about it today. So thanks
Yeah,
again.
Yeah, absolutely. As you say, it is a huge kind of it is a big deal for Content Guru to secure this certification. As I mentioned, it was an industry first achievement to do so. But let's kind of get right into it. What exactly is the FedRAMP High Designation Certificate?
Right. So, yeah, FedRAMP is really rooted in a government strategy that was hatched in about 2010. It's the cloud first strategy. So it was the government's foray into, looking ahead back in, almost 15 years ago now to say, hey, look, we've got these on-prem assets and services. We need to start considering the cloud. How do we frame that in a secure manner? Right thereafter, they came up with the FedRAMP program. So that was rolled out in 2011. Come full circle, it was really a mandate initially through the OMB, which is a presidential directive. And then I think it was 22, fiscal year 23, when they actually converted that into a law. So FedRAMP really means do one, serve many, right, for the government. So it established a marketplace, but it also provided the framework to understand what the security requirements would be, which are initially rooted in the NIST framework. So there's a publication called NIST 853. There's all these kind of specifications and controls that you need to meet. And FedRAMP itself is broken out into low, moderate, and high. And as you could imagine, the high level is the most complex and difficult to achieve. So that's the kind of framework. I would say that if you do look at the marketplace, which is a website that government officials could go to for CCaaS or any type of software as a service application, when you look at the breakdown, you've got maybe 10% low, I'd say 80% moderate solutions, and then just about less than 10% high. So we're kind of really rarefied there when you look at just how um, you know how limited there are for solutions, and for CCaaS we're the only ones for a full stack solution.
Yeah, as you said, I'm sure maybe a lot of viewers have seen other vendors talk about being FedRAMP certified, but it is those levels are low and mid certifications as well. And as you mentioned, Content Guru is the first CCaaS vendor to deliver that. Could you maybe shed a little bit more light on why that's so important for businesses in the for public sector organizations?
Yeah, no, definitely. So, FedRAMP is now the law. So when you want to select a SaaS solution like contact center as a service, you have to go to the FedRAMP marketplace. So if you look at our peers, really the kind of table stakes is moderate, because that's really what the government mandated previously. But if you look at kind of the trend is more secure. We've had a higher propensity for foreign adversaries to come in, so we're trending that way. So when we worked with our industry partners, state departments, our sponsor, we heard loud and clear that their goal is to go FedRAMP High almost across the board. So we wanted to, I guess for lack of a better term, skate to where the puck is going to be, so that we were there, we were able to deliver a high solution. And it took extra time. I have to say that if we had considered moderate, we might have been able to be available a year or two early. But because of the complexity, it was an over I think a 4-year commitment, millions of dollars, and it took the buy-in from our our leadership team, the fortitude to really commit to do this. But also it establishes the highest bar for security, and I think that also permeates to other commercial business and different verticals as well, to show that Content Guru is serious about it. security, and that it's it's a trust signal for everyone that we take it serious, and that we are the preeminent CCaaS provider for state and local government.
Yeah, as you say, I think that is kind of what really stands out. It's a trust signal. I like that phrase that you use, not just to the public sector, but to other businesses and other sectors as well, to show that, hey, Content Guru is leading the way in terms of security and compliance in the space. I do want to focus back in on the public sector though, quickly, and talk kind of more broadly about what Content Guru has to offer there. I don't know if you can talk a little bit about some of the other differentiative features Content Guru offers within that vertical.
Yeah, if you look at public sector globally, so for like the UK, I guess one of the differentiators for us is uptime and availability. So blue light services, which in the States we would call emergency services, 911 type functionality, we're the only cloud provider, that is delivering blue light services and that type of emergency service to the industry, right? So that's 100% uptime, 100% SLA. I don't think other folks can even contract to that, but that's the reality for us. So it's just the highest uptime and availability. Also, when you look at programs like 111 or citywide services, globally, I think we're the largest, because if you add in the European market with the US, that combined, just the umbrella of constituents and citizens that we service. More broadly, if you look at our journey, we've been doing public sector in the US for 20 years, right? So our foundational customers, and that's continuous service. So we've actually had, contractual work with, cabinet level agencies for 20 years, and our other partner agency is, I think, creeping on 17 years, continuous service. So it's a testament of just how tight we are with the government and how we've provided these mission critical services, and now that's being offered in FedRAMP and in the cloud offering.
Yeah, there's lots of interesting points there. I was wondering maybe as well if you could, I know it's always quite difficult to do this within the public sector, but could you maybe share a couple of examples of the success that Content Guru has had in the space?
Yeah, definitely. So I'll take one that's more of a, I guess, AI and automation focused. So we worked with a public sector client. They were focused on employment and trying to help constituents re-enter the workforce after they've been riffed or laid off, right? So typically you would meet with an advisor. They would take longhand notes and pull together a summary, and then write a resume or a CV, and then provide it to the constituent, because they found that the recidivism of being off payroll, if it spanned more than a couple weeks, it could take up to 6 months. So they were really eager to get that out. So we used RTAS, which is real-time transcription and summarization, as part of our AI portfolio that's delivered under Brain. It's an adaptation layer for LLMs. That was delivered to the client. They're able to use it. So now when they focus more on talking to the actual constituent, they ask a pre-canned set of questions. We're able to apply real-time transcription to that and auto summarization. And at the end, they get a resume out of it, and they do some light editing. So the process that may have taken an hour or more is cut down to 15 to 20 minutes. So it's a huge time saver, and it's just an example of how automation can not offset an agent, but it really helps them be better, right, and deliver better service. The other one I'll mention, when you talked about like kind of superpowers, what we're good at, we have an embedded CRM capability. It's called the Customer Knowledge System. As part of that, we can take and build an actual CRM customized to the actual customer journey. So what does that mean? They had this government agency had an incumbent solution. One of the large CRM providers. It was expensive. They had to adapt that with their contact center. It was an on-prem solution. So we were a turnkey single solution, and not only did we offset were able to remove that other CRM, but we were able to take their customer journey and reduce it down from, I think it was maybe 50% of the handle time, just because their CRM now is purpose built and it's only displaying the information that they care about, rather than having to go through pages that were just there statically built. So average handle time's down, customers are happier, and then also the agents, the training. You don't need to train on a third-party system. It was a single training block. So those are, I think, two solid examples of real-time applications where we're driving efficiency and we're equipping the agents to be better. Right? There's not really replacing agents, but it's helping them service the client and the constituents in a more meaningful way.
Yeah, absolutely. Two really great examples, actually. It's interesting. We hear so much about maybe CRM vendors coming more into the CCaaS space, but hearing that example of how you're able to kind of displace that CRM in a very logical, beneficial way is, I thought that was fascinating to hear. And what I will do for anybody watching who wants to find out a bit more is I'll put in links to Content Guru's website, including the public, what it's doing in the public sector vertical as well. So yeah, I'll leave those in the description. But I think that's a great place to end today's chat. I want to thank Andrew very much for joining me today, and you all for watching. Bye for now.